Hi, welcome to Cork Meets Fork. I'm Robert Mitchell. Welcome to match number 6, where today we're matching up Pinot Noirs, two different Pinot Noirs, one from Oregon and one from Carneros in California. So two very different style Pinot Noirs. We're matching it up with chicken saltimbocca. We're pounding chicken thighs, adding a little prosciutto and a little bit of sage to that, and also making a mushroom risotto. And we're making salmon fritters, which the salmon fritters I think is going to match really well with the Oregon Pinot. It's a Pacific match that you'll often see out there in restaurants in Oregon and Seattle, where they'll take their Pacific salmon, match it up with their Pinot Noirs instead of going with a white, and it's a great way to go. The salmon just is a little bit richer, a little bit more oily, and works well with Pinot. And then we've got a Carneros Pinot, which is going to be a little bit fuller, darker in color. This is from Storino Tratta. Dave Barnes, a good friend of mine, is the owner of the winery, and he does a great job with several styled wines in California, but this is his signature wine, his Dave's Pinot. A couple things that are coming up, some events. On October 23rd, that is this upcoming Saturday, we've got a tasting at Grapes to Glass up in Sturtevant. And we're going to be tasting both of these Pinots, plus a couple of Pinot Gris. We're going to throw another Pinot Noir in from Canada, believe it or not. So an interesting tasting up with Michelle at Grapes to Glass, and that's from 2 to 5 o'clock. And then we still have some room left for a wine dinner on October 28th. It's a Thursday night. We're doing a fall harvest dinner at Sassy B. Real big, hearty Spanish wines. We're reaping the rewards from the harvest. So all the things from our Wisconsin harvest are involved in this dish. Finishing off with an ossobuco and risotto dish. So it's going to be a great little dinner. You can call Sassy B and make reservations. We do have spots for you. Now to the wines. Stanglin Winery, I visited there last August and got to meet Larry Stanglin. This is his first year with the twist-off cap, by the way, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Larry, just an absolute sweetheart of a man. His vineyard almost looks like you're in Tuscany. He's on the top of a rolling hill going down into the valley in the southern Willamette Valley. And the Oregon Pinots and Larry's certainly have this earthy quality, almost like a French Burgundian style Pinot. And this is no exception. You can tell the color is a little bit lighter. If you can see that, it's going to be a lighter colored Pinot Noir. And has that kind of mushroom, earthy nose to it, which I just love in Pinot Noirs. This is the 07 Stanglin, and it's just really, really soft on the tongue. This, I think, will be a perfect match with that salmon dish. Really, really nice little wine. Probably will work with the Saltimbocca, too. But this will definitely work with the Saltimbocca. This is Dave's Pinot from Storino Tratta. This is also the 07, so we're trying comparable years from two different little microclimates on the West Coast. You can tell right away the color is darker. Dave's Pinot from Storino Tratta jumps up to 14.1% alcohol, where we've got 12.9% in the Stanglin. So a little bit higher in alcohol, darker in color. The hotter that it gets, the darker, the richer the wine's going to get as you have a little more sugar quality. The alcohol tends to hop up because the sugar gets converted into alcohol when it's fermented. So you're going to have a little more alcohol in those hotter climate wines. Here you have more of that bright cherry, almost like a real ripe cherry. It's big. It's a whopper wine, but equally as creamy and smooth as the Stanglin Pinot, but just a little bit more of that big fruit, that higher alcohol. You can taste that a little bit too. But this will definitely work with the Saltimbocca. And let's give that a shot now. We're going to bring on the food and try this with the wine. And then after we taste this, stick around because you can watch us make the dish. I'll be creating both the Saltimbocca and the salmon fritters. And you can try that at home and download the recipes online. But let's bring the food out. All right, we have the salmon fritters with a habanero mayo, habanero aioli there, which has got a little heat to it, which is going to be a nice counter with the salmon, and there's a little lemon in there too. And then we have the chicken saltimbocca. We used the thigh of the chicken, pounded it down, added some sage underneath the prosciutto, a little bit of Parmesan cheese that kind of melted in, and then a pea and mushroom risotto as well. We're going to first try the Stangland Pinot Noir with the salmon fritters. And we'll dip it in that habanero a little bit. The salmon is cooked perfectly. Neither one overpowers the other. I think we have that full flavor. There's a nice crunchiness in that cornmeal crust too with the salmon, but nothing fishy about it. That habanero heat kind of sneaks up on you a little bit there too. And now we've got the risotto and the saltimbocca, and we're going to try this with Dave's Pinot from Storino Trotta. Used a little bit of white wine in that risotto too, which worked out really nicely. Here we're going to get a bite of the chicken. We'll get some sage, a little prosciutto, and some cheese all in one bite here. Oh, that risotto was really good. We used the thigh today instead of the chicken breast because I think there's more flavor. And you can generally save yourself about $1 a pound on the thigh meat. If you can get boneless thigh meat, pound that out, it's perfect. That is really tasty. And the wine is big and still soft on the finish because it's a kind of a delicate dish. There's not, you know, you've got the sage and those flavors there. So you don't want a really powerful wine. And I think the Dave's Pinot really works well. I think the Stangland would work with that too. Either way you go. But what a fun little tasting here. Pinot Noirs meets chicken saltimbocca and salmon fritters. We're going to show you how to cook these dishes, and you are able to download the recipe too, so stick around and watch that. Thanks for joining. All right, that dish looked good, tasted good, and we're going to show you how to make it. But we've got salmon fritters. We're doing a little spicy, kind of an aioli sauce. We're doing risotto with mushrooms, and then the chicken thighs, saltimbocca. All right, you can see that these thighs now are flat, and you've got a kind of a smooth side, and you've got the other side. We're going to actually salt and pepper both sides first. A little salt from the shaker, from the grinder, and a little bit of pepper. And we're going to add our saltimbocca ingredients on the rougher side. Salt and pepper. Don't need a lot of salt though, because you're going to get some salt in the prosciutto. We've got sage leaves, and we're going to put these guys down, and then we're going to actually pound those in with the, and then these thin slices of prosciutto that we're going to put down over the top. And then we use this end to pound the chicken thighs flat. We're going to use this end to get these to adhere. All right, the chicken thighs are pounded and ready to go. So now we're going to go to the risotto. This is the only time-consuming thing in the entire recipe today. We've got the risotto going. This has been cooked with a little bit of chicken stock. There's a little bit of chopped onion in there too. And you just have to watch. It's about a 20-minute process, and you just continue to add chicken stock. Let that absorb and keep going. And we've got about 10 more minutes left on this risotto. Next to the risotto, we have some mushrooms that are going. We've got some shallots in there. I did use a little truffle butter, and we used a little bit of white wine actually in there too, but you can see the browning just from the browning of the onions and the mushrooms. That is going to get added to the risotto at the very end. All right, now we're going to start the salmon fritters. So the skin's removed very easily, and we're just going to cut this into little fritter pieces. Now, some people choose to make their fritters and mash it up and do their salmon fritters that way. I like getting that whole succulent piece of salmon in a fritter.
Some nice pieces there. We're going to season this a little bit too. This is just a seafood seasoning, something you could purchase in the store, bookbinders. And we're going to hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper also. And then just a little bit of lemon before we actually do the breading on it. We're going to make a little spicy sauce with this too. I've added a good mayonnaise, and I want it to have a little zest, and I want it to be green, so we're adding a little habanero green sauce to that. And I'm going to add a little bit of lemon to that as well. Alright, we've got a little oil in the pan, and we're going to heat the saltimbocca on the prosciutto side down first. And that prosciutto is just going to shrink up and shrink right around that chicken. Because it's flattened, it's going to be very, very quick too. This won't take long to cook. We're talking about 2.5, 3, 4 minutes, depending on your oven. Risotto is almost there. We've just added a little bit more chicken stock. And we're going to add some frozen peas. The only thing that I actually work with that's frozen in my kitchen, but frozen peas are great. They go into a hot dish and they stay kind of firm and crisp, and they're also adding a nice color to this dish. So that, and we're going to add the mushrooms to this risotto as well, which that is ready to go. And that just needs probably another couple of minutes for the peas to warm up in the dish. And we're going to add a little bit of Parmesan cheese, very thinly sliced, and that will melt right down in there. Just needs another 2 minutes and the cheese will melt perfectly. Alright, we have got a plate. We're ready to plate this dish. We're going to put the saltimbocca down first. That is definitely done. See how the cheese just melts a little bit there? Not fully melted, but it's going to be nice and fresh. We're going to hit it with just a little bit of parsley. And then we have the risotto with the peas. The peas are now soft, but still have a little bit of a crispness to them. We're going to stack the salmon fritters in our little Asian-styled bowl here. And then we're going to take our dipping sauce and just put that right in the corner. And then just finish this off with a little bit of fresh parsley for color. And there's our salmon fritter. Another very simple meal here. Didn't take long, probably about 35 minutes total time is what it'll take you. But match number 6, we've got Pinot Noir meets saltimbocca and salmon fritters. That's a chicken saltimbocca. You can download this recipe, make it yourself at home. Very, very easy on both sides, and tasty as well. Enjoy your cooking and enjoy the Pinot Noirs.